like to welcome everybody to the January regular city council meeting. We'll call to order. The first order is pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next is the approval of the agenda. Is there any additions to the agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed. Consent agenda. A is the regular city minutes from December 11th, 2024. Special city council meeting minutes, December 26th. And the special organizational city meeting, January 2nd, 2025. Is there a motion to approve of that?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passed. B is financial reports, city accounts payable for December 2024, city financial statement, December 2024, and the liquor store profit and loss statement, December 24. Is there a motion to approve that, or any questions?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Public comment, this time is reserved for comments from the public on matters not listed on the agenda. Please keep comments to 3 minutes. Seeing none, we'll have department reports. A, the Carleton County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. You should have in your packet already some information that was sent, which is a couple reports. One of them is for the month of December, which included the self-initiated and the calls for service for the contract deputy, as well as a separate column for all the other county deputies that responded for the month of December as far as calls for service and self-initiated activity. So there was, it looks like 44 total calls by the contract deputy and 88 by the other county deputies for December. Also included in your packet is the statistics for 2024 for the Moose Lake Police Department, which was the 7 months from January 1st of 24 to July 31st of 2024. And then the contract deputy stats from August 1st, when the contract started, until December 31st. Is there any questions on that data that was provided?
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I know that Lieutenant Rada had come to the previous meeting, but indicated that we would have another deputy, and we're still on schedule for that here towards the end of the month to begin. So you'll see a second one then. And we are actively working on it. Yeah.
I have a question on the old school. There seems to be a couple of doors down there that have the windows were broken out and they had put plywood over it, and the plywood has been pulled off now.
Okay.
And that's on the east side, one of the doors that's close to the old football field.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another door in the corner on the east side, on the back side. But there's also, when I went and looked in there, and the windows are broken to get in, but then there's another set of doors right after the first set of doors. And I don't know if those are locked or not. I did bring it to the attention of one of your deputies here last week, but I just don't know what the situation is exactly with that.
Well, we've had some correspondence with the city administrator as well as the owner of the building. The owner made it very abundantly clear that he does not want anyone in that building. So we have instructed the deputies that unless it is a life safety matter, that they are not to even go in there. Now, if there's certainly someone in there and there's a life safety issue, then yes, they're gonna go in there and take care of that and make sure that, you know, no one is in danger in there. But outside of that, again, he's made it abundantly clear. So until the city does something different with that building or that is resolved, I don't know if, you know, we don't have any other action that we would take with
Okay.
that.
It's really directed to you, or is there any way we can force him to, what am I trying to say?
Security building.
Secure the building more than like a piece of plywood, because that's easily removable.
We've been in consistent contact with him regarding securing the building. He will meet the requirements and the obligations, and then something will occur, or there'll be additional vandalism, or somebody will re-break in. And so he has met the requirements to secure the building, but there does continue to be entrance and damage. He's actually been more recently engaged with the city and the EDA in discussions about the building. So we have the county EDA involved as well, so we're gonna continue to have dialogue collectively as a group to try and come up with some solutions. So there'll be more information for council on that. But we have all parties actively meeting and engaging to try and be proactive versus reactive regarding the building.
Well, it seems like he's setting himself up for liability also when he's leaving it unsecured with these windows.
Right, and as Sheriff Lake mentioned, he has communicated to both the city and the sheriff's office that nobody is allowed on the property.
I'm talking about people that are breaking in
Yeah.
for liability.
Understood. Yep. You know, long-term, those are things that the city's working on. Short-term, our hands are a little tied. So we've tried to do some research and get creative about different avenues we can take, and those are the things that we started to engage with him on.
We will certainly try and, you know, maintain contact and any engagement we can, just to ensure the safety of the people. You know, even if they're going in there when they're not supposed to, or illegally, we certainly don't want anybody to get hurt.
Yeah, I just don't know if he's aware of that those doors are.
He's well aware.
Okay.
He's well aware.
I just find it kind of, you know, unfair that we ask the taxpayers, you know, to look over his property, and it costs the city to do that, you know, and he needs to take responsibility for that building himself.
Yes.
I don't disagree with that.
Any further questions for the sheriff? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have city superintendent. Bill Wetner.
Mayor, members of the council, Mr. Jones. Start in the water department. The water department distributed 4.9 million gallons of drinking water for the month of December. The last couple of curb stops that were in need of repair in the distribution system were fixed in the month of December. Water system is all winterized and running at a winterized state as far as we're trying to pump more water through that tower on a more frequent basis to try to keep any type of ice from accumulating inside the tower. Nobody wants the water tower to freeze. That would be a nightmare for everybody. Did have a communication issue with the water tower in the well house this last Sunday. That got resolved, so we're back up and running there. Sewer department collection system collected 10.7 million gallons of wastewater in the month of December. And as far as that goes, I'll still be looking for, I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. We'll be starting our sanitary sewer cleaning program if the weather allows, if we can maintain 25-ish degrees during the day. We run a lot of equipment with water, moving pieces and parts, and we don't want things to freeze up. But with the frost depths right now, especially in the easements and the right of ways and the backyards, it's a lot easier to get to a lot of those places, so we're gonna try to capitalize on that. But we're not gonna do it at the risk of our equipment either, so, you'll be probably seeing some of that happen here in the next possibly couple weeks if the temps come up a little bit. The treatment facility, the ponds, they're all winterized for the winter. They're just kind of sitting there, building ice. I will be attending Minnesota Rural Water Conference in March in St. Cloud again. That's such a valuable place to go, and that's where the bug program came from, that I brought back up here to you guys a couple years ago, they went in place, and some of the other things that we're doing, that's trying to find other options for treatment and building capacity. So we're lots of street and right-of-way department. There's no snow being plowed, we all know that, but there's a lot of right-of-ways getting cleared. So you see a skid steer piece of equipment down in a ditch with a bunch of dust flying, it's just us cleaning back the right-of-ways. So a lot of stuff that hasn't been done. There's some streets in town that have never been done. So we're trying to get back on top of that and maintain those. Cemeteries, they're pretty quiet. We do have a burial on Friday, so we've been dealing with a couple of issues out there today, but we should get that in and taken care of. The campground is all shut down for the winter, so along with the parks, the arena, the new compressor system is working well. We're working out a couple of bugs with it, but that's it's going to be pretty normal on a newer, bigger system like that. So storm sewer, nothing, pretty quiet. Guardian department shut down for the winter. Cycling shed, we will be burning that brush pile as soon as we get 3 inches of snow. We'll have notifications out there, fire department, dispatch, everyone will be notified. So other than that, I will have 2025 safety videos going out to department heads and the rest of the staff by the end of January, so we can get that taken care of for the year, and then I think everything else is later on in the meeting. So you don't have any questions for me?
Thank you.
Yep.
Next is motor vehicle department.
Hi everyone, hi Mayor and Council. I don't have a whole lot to report, just a little few things. This winter has
Can
been.
you pull the mic down?
Oh.
Thank you.
The winter has been a little different this winter than it has in last year. So we're getting a few things done this winter that we couldn't do last winter. Catching up on some stuff, getting papers, where do they go? What else are we doing? Me and Tracy got our deputy recertification test done. That had to be done by the end of December, so we got that done. That happens, we're required to do that every 3 years. So that's nice to have that out of the way. We've been able to have our own department meetings. We started that in December, so we hope to be able to keep that up. Just to keep in communication without any interruptions and stuff like that, so it's kind of nice to have that. Just doing storage in the back room. Tracy's been shredding all kinds of stuff that we don't have to keep anymore, clearing up some space back there. It's getting a little crowded. She's taken out a lot of bags. She's a good shredder. I keep telling her that. Otherwise, our office, we've been busy with snowbirds calling us, people that are out of state right now that are buying vehicles out of state, and just that communication and they have the process and all that. That takes a lot of time and communication back and forth with them, but it all works out. We're still doing our monthly trainings every month, every third Wednesday. We close the office for like an hour and a half to do our trainings. They have become very overwhelming at times. They continue to do a lot of changes for us. By the time we're done with our training, we're like, they've added more work for us. So it's a lot of work, always adding some more stuff for our daily lives. So that's sometimes a challenge. Our state website has been down a lot. We've had to send people away a lot because they must be doing some updates and changes on their website also. So there's a lot of times where we have to send people away and come back. And it just doesn't seem to be getting any better. But we just have to live with it. One of the changes they have made to us in our last meeting was that we have to look up MSRP values on vehicles, even old ones. The state wants their tax. You have to look up their tax, what the value of their vehicle is, and that's gets to be very time consuming also. And we always hope at the end that it's good news and not bad news and they owe us more tax. So, and when they have the bad news, then they'll pay it, you know. I'm sure the state thinks that a lot of people don't tell the truth about how much they paid, so that's one of the things. Just recently, a change for eyeglasses, which is a big deal. Eyeglasses and hats, you can't wear those for your driver's license any longer. So that's a new thing for us to remember. We've only had one customer that was not happy about it and wasn't gonna take off his hat, but then they have to fill out a form, bring it to get a variance. We have to send it to the state and then it has to be approved, and he goes, oh, I'll just take off my hat. So, you know, otherwise it's a little longer process. I guess, I don't know if anybody knows, but we can actually sell you a roadable aircraft license if you, yes. I don't know if anybody has seen any of them. I did have somebody that saw one on the freeway. We have not sold one yet, but that's another new thing for us too.
What was that?
It's a roadable aircraft. It's like an airplane where the wings fold in and they can drive them down the road, but they can't take off or land on the freeway unless it's an emergency. But they can also fly out of an airport. So it's kind of, I know, and they can go up to 160 miles an hour. I don't know.
Who makes those?
I don't know who makes them, yeah. I don't know who makes them. Isn't that funny?
What do they call it?
Roadable aircraft.
Have we run into now?
Isn't that funny? Nobody's come in with one yet. Thank goodness. Yeah, we're always getting new plates in our office also. They just came out with a Rotary International. It says Service Above Self. Donation goes to community service organizations. They came out with a Minnesota Unite. It has a loon on the front of it, and this benefits the Loon Restoration Project to preserve loon breeding habitats. Just to let you know, Minnesota has over 120 specialty plates right now, and they keep going. And that's not even including just the regular plates. Yeah, so there's a lot. We just got word about the blackout plates too. They have sold almost 260,000 in the state. That's one of our most popular ones. So that means the state has made $8 million on those plates this year. I know our association is trying to get some of that for our deputies, so hopefully that will happen this year. We're hoping. Yeah, let's see. DNR, we had a little delay on our DNR registrations. The vendor that makes the stickers was not supplying us with the stickers. They're behind, they're usually to us before December 1st, and we didn't get them until we couldn't start selling them until January 2nd. So we have to send some people away for that also. DNR is also introducing a new program in March, which will allow customers easy access to the registration, hunting and fishing licenses. So we should be doing some training on those too. My worry is that we will lose business from that. So, but we'll find out more about that from February. Our driver's license exams are changing from 30 minutes to 40 minutes to give the customers more time, which is nice. Some people have a hard time comprehending, so that is a good thing. We're glad we're doing that. Our 100% disabled customers, we've been having more and more come in, which is wonderful. They can do 2 free vehicles at no cost, no registration, no filing fees, they don't pay anything, and also for their driver's license. And if they buy a vehicle, they don't have to pay any sales tax on vehicles, and there's no limit to that. So, and we're very happy to do that for them. We have been seeing a big influx with DWIs in our office also. We get a lot of people thinking that they can just come in and pay and just be done. It's not that simple, and it's a long process to try to explain it to them what they have to do and their steps, and we try to help them as much as we can. But they pay their reinstatement fees, and if they have to take a test, so that does benefit our office. But we also get some angry customers. They want to be able to walk out with a driver's license, and that doesn't usually happen. Yeah. Let's see. Do any of you know when the deadline for real IDs? No, about
Read it, but I don't remember.
May 7th, if you're gonna fly into a military base or into a federal building, you'll have to have a real ID, or enhanced or a passport. Yeah, and we've been seeing a lot of that coming in too, because it's been advertised quite a bit. So, well, some of the improvements that we'd like to do are just, we're having a language barrier issue with our foreign customers that come in for their driver's license. So I've talked to Alyssa about this. We're going to get an iPad to try to communicate with them better if they don't have somebody with them. So that's been an issue for us. Our passport photos, we've been having a lot of lighting problem. Me and Tracy had a little time to play with it today, and I think I moved the screen up above, and that seemed to help a little bit. When we would hit the picture to save, if people with white hair, their hair would turn iridescent, and then we can't accept those pictures. Usually people with dark hair, it was fine, but if you had white hair, it would just light up everybody's hair. So we're working on that. I'm hoping we fixed it, because we were taking pictures of each other, and we'll keep checking it out. We've been selling a few of those this week too. Let's see. That's about it. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Ted.
that.
Okay, thanks.
Municipal liquor store.
Good afternoon, members of the council. Mayor Michalski, Administrator Owens. Liquor store, we installed the point of sale screens yesterday. Everybody seems to love them. It went seamlessly, which often doesn't happen when you're changing out systems, but it went great. The screens are bigger, and they seem to be at least 20 to 30% faster, so everyone's happy. Next up will be the computers down there, which we approved in the budget last month. Let's see, we're fixing the dishwasher. Inventory went pretty well. I couldn't be down there, I was sick, but I was in the office up here, so thanks to all the volunteers that stepped up, Jim himself too. Thanks to everybody that pitched in and made that go well. Let's see, we're working on the thermostat down there with Gardner, and yeah, just been busy with stuff. There are some new cannabis things coming out from the Department of Revenue Cannabis Department, so we'll bring that to the liquor committee meeting next week. As of right now, the actual licensing with the state has been put on pause because of a lot of legal things that have come up, so it actually buys us a little extra time, which is nice, but there'll be a lot more to come on cannabis here in the near future. Questions, liquor store?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Technological Library Department.
Yeah, there's some things I'm helping Sarah with as far as old PD related stuff. I'm not sure how much I can talk about that, but I'm also looking into quotes for new iPads for you guys, so that'll be coming soon too.
Questions?
All right,
Thank you.
all right, thanks.
City engineer?
Yeah, so I just want to highlight a couple items within the meeting minutes from the January 2nd monthly update meeting. So the Trunk Highway 73 Phase 2 Trail Project is, planning is nearly complete for this. They're still working on some easements and paperwork items. The county and the city agreement, as far as the county acting as the city's fiscal agent, has been executed. That's fantastic. In addition, the county is participating in determining whether or not they will be able to clear trees for the project. That will save some monies. All indications at this point is that they will be able to. They're working on getting approvals from MnDOT, and we'll have more information to come on that. There'll be a January 10th meeting with MSOP. It'll be a coordination meeting. We're going to talk about introductions. There's some new peoples and new roles on both sides. Get everybody up to speed regarding background. We'll talk about the trail. There is an easement past that facility. We're going to discuss an SIU agreement with the MSOP facility, and also kind of update them on some of the city's grant applications and funding opportunities that we're seeking that would contribute to a lining project that would directly impact their facility as well. So more to come on that after the January 10th meeting. The city engineers are also working on an updated pond capacity memo. So that occurs every January, so to speak, January, February. So we'll present that to council as soon as we have that. That's always really interesting to see the progress that's been made from the city efforts for lining. So more to come on that. We have not heard back yet on the 2 MPCA grant applications that the city has submitted, but I will most certainly keep council informed of that as well. And then just a note on the 2025 sewer lining project. So we've talked historically about moving up our the bidding process for our lining projects in hopes to be able to have projects bid simultaneously with other area projects. A lot of times if an entity's in the area already, mobilization fees and things like that can be reduced. We're in a little bit of a holding pattern to see whether or not there would be a different project that would be recommended in the sewer fund versus a lining project for 2025. But we're working closely with the engineers, the attorneys, the district, in order to kind of hash those things out so that we can make appropriate adjustments and or for council to be able to have good information for decision making on that item as well. I think that's it. Again, the meeting minutes, I think we're up to 6 or 7 pages. If you have any questions when you're reviewing them, please let me know. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Next is the Chamber of Commerce.
Hello, thanks for having me today. I'll just go briefly through recap the meeting we had with the chamber today. Excuse me. We did approve the 2025 budget today, so that should be set to go. That's been a bit of a challenge along the way just because we made some structural changes with hiring a full-time director and such, but this year will be the first time since that happened where we're projected to show a positive net income, so that's a good move for us. We are going through and looking at some of our events again, like for example, the Brew Fest, which I believe last year was done on the municipal parking lot. Don't know for sure where that's going to go this year, but we are looking at a couple other options for that, maybe different times of the year, maybe different venues again. So we're not really sure where that's going to land yet. We'll keep you guys updated as we learn that. The other big change is with the triathlon. I believe last year we opened it up to roughly between 90 and 100, and I believe that the potential for that is going to be opened up to 150 this year, participants, which is a pretty big increase. So I don't know for sure what that'll mean in terms of changing, for example, traffic control and those kinds of things, but we'll keep, obviously, the city in the loop on that too. And the thing I guess I really wanted to bring attention to, and it's probably the biggest event that happens in Moose Lake all year long, and that's the Agate Days event. And there are three primary, outside of the city that I'm aware of, there are three primary partners in that, which includes the Chamber of Commerce, the Carleton County Gem and Mineral Club, and Art in the Park, I think are the primary sponsors. And something happened recently, and I'm not going to get down into the deep of it, but there are some things that happened recently that might have an impact on those partners and what Agate Days weekend would look like. So, again, I don't have a lot of information that we're ready to share at this point, but that's something that we'll definitely keep the city apprised on, because that's a pretty big event in town. So, other than that, we're going through and reviewing things along the lines of the website facilitator that we have, our insurance coverages and things like that, just to get them, I guess, in line with current pricing. There's some pretty significant price changes that we can discover in that process. So that's really all I have on behalf of the chamber. Any questions for me?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Previously discussed business. A is the Riverside Arena cooling system replacement project closeout.
Well, yes, I just wanted to provide visibility to council regarding the cooling system replacement at the arena and the Mighty Ducks grant award. So the city was able to complete all necessary processes in order to submit for reimbursement. The city did receive reimbursement in the amount of $207,958. That is what the expectation was as far as the grant award. That was able to be booked in December, so that's fantastic, in and out within the same year. All in all, that project was relatively seamless, and as City Superintendent Entner mentioned, the cooling system's running great. So the project is closed out, and definitely a thumbs up and a thank you to all parties who collaborated on that project.
Any questions? B is the 2025 Senate Capital Finance Committee request.
So in the packet, the council received the city's submission for the 2025 local government capital request. This is a $3.1 million project request for the Moose Lake inflow and infiltration reduction. Essentially, I wanted council to have visibility to the answers and or project description, just in case there are questions that happen, you know, from a community perspective and or just sharing of transparency and information. The city's match for this project would be 50%, so it would be $1.5 million. The city is already engaged with the engineers regarding a couple of grant applications that could contribute to the city's match if the city was awarded the state monies for this project. And we'll continue to look for other grant opportunities in preparation of potentially having this approved. Not only was this application submitted to the Senate Capital Finance Committee, it was also submitted to Senator Rarick's office and Representative Dotseth's office as well. So if anybody has any questions on this, happy to answer, but also just wanted to share information with council.
Any questions? We'll move on to new business. Kettle River Snowmobile Club, charitable gambling discussion.
So,
You want to just state your names?
yeah, Sean Adams. I'm the Vice President of the Kettle River Snowmobile Club and the future gambling manager for the Kettle River Snowmobile Club. Thank you for having us today. It was kind of short notice, but I'm glad you were able to add us to the agenda. I appreciate it. I guess to start with, I'll give a little bit of an overview of the Kettle River Snowmobile Club. 2025 is actually our 50th year of incorporation. So we've been connecting communities, specifically motorsport type communities for the last 50 years. We currently maintain about 60 miles of trail system. The main thoroughfare runs the Sioux Line from Moose Lake to just short of Lawler. That's the main thoroughfare. Then we have the Brown Road Trail, which goes south of that, parallel but south, and then a trail that cuts over and connects Barnum and Mattawa. And we are looking at, per request from the snowmobiling community, we are potentially looking at reopening roughly a 15-mile section of old trail that used to connect the Sioux Line to Denham. That, just to get that on the record, I guess that section would not be maintained by the DNR's grant and aid program. They're not currently offering grant and aid on new trail at this point. So that would be something that would be club cost both to open and maintain. So that's kind of who we are as a club. We are currently in the process of changing from, it was a 501c7 to a 501c3. The paperwork, we're just waiting for the paperwork at this point. And the reason we've done that is we previously had only received DNR funding, grant and aid funding for the trail system. And with current snow situations both last year and this year, inflation where it is, and the fact that grant and aid will be reduced not only the remainder of this year, but very likely for the next 2 or 3 years to come with the lack of trail snow. So funding for our organizations across the state are going to face some obstacles. And so we're trying to jump out in front of that, hence changing our organizational type to a 501c3. What that does is it allows us to do fundraising. With a 501c7, we weren't allowed to do anything. So part of that is as an example, we've started, this would be our first year, but we've started an annual banquet that's going to happen at the Star Club on March 1st. And the second thing that we're doing is I'm in the process myself of being licensed as a gambling manager. So the club is being licensed as a gambling organization. And we're kind of at the final stage of that process. And that final stage includes having to have a premise contract signed with somebody who we can facilitate pull tabs or gambling through. Naturally, that's a little bit of a challenge because there's nobody around that doesn't already have pull tabs that can have pull tabs. So it's a hard venue to get in without stepping on toes, which we don't want to do, but we have to ask. So a little bit about gambling. I assume most of you are already aware of this because you have a gambling organization now. But 70% of the net receipts, a minimum of 70% of net receipts are supposed to be donated back to the community, whether other nonprofit organizations, whether it is it can be schools, it can be churches, it can be a lot of different organizations. It can even be if you're trying to raise money for a family, for example, who had a traumatic experience. Those are all eligible expenses that we can donate to. I have no disparaging words about your existing gambling manager, your gambling organization. I'm not here to talk about them. I don't know how they spend their money. I don't know who they donate to. It's really none of my business. But I do know that for us, part of the reason that we're doing this is well beyond the snowmobile or motorsports industry. Just about every nonprofit organization that I'm familiar with in the area has challenges in meeting their budget, ultimately. And so for us having the ability to get involved and not only fund our own projects, but then get involved at a bigger scale in the community is something we're very interested in. So I'll just kind of continue down the list here, but again, with the lack of snow, there's not only a likeliness but a probability that our grant and aid funding will be significantly affected more next year and the year after than this year, but it's going to start already late this year. So What I'm here for today ultimately is to ask the city of Moose Lake to help us get rolling in this process. And in order to do that, we have to have a venue that we can gamble from. Can't do it without that. So naturally, I think everybody in the room is probably aware that the Tower Tap is no longer in operation. That's the one that's right in our wheelhouse. So we're having to venture out further to get involved in the same thing. So the benefits to the city are potentially a few. I don't know exactly the percentage of net receipts that the city is earning for rent, but I have a ballpark, and we can offer, if that's correct, I think we can offer more than what the city is currently getting in terms of rent for the space inside the Muni. And for anybody that doesn't know, that's based on a percentage of net receipts, both for paper pull tabs and then for electronic pull tabs. So there are state limits to what percentage that facility or any facility can earn for rent, but I'm under the impression that probably there's some room left to go there. So that would be the benefit to the city. The other part is, my understanding is that the city takes those funds and uses those to donate out to other organizations in the community. And obviously, I mentioned a little bit ago that the community focus is part of our interest. And so even if that increased value there isn't us giving it away, it's still something that's going to impact the community. And that's really what we're driving for. So, you know, we're a volunteer organization. We all do this for nothing. So anytime we can see an advance in how it impacts the communities and keeping our communities together, whether it's by trail system or whatever it is, I think we have to do that. So the other thing that and again, I'm not criticizing who's there. I don't know whether it was a choice by the city or not. There's a lot of opportunities that currently aren't happening within the municipal liquor store. So just as an example, there's no tip boards, there's no game boards, like for example, Viking game boards and things along those lines. There are some horse racing softwares that can be used to simulate horse races within the building, and that has proven pretty much across the state to be a really big draw for gambling or gambling facilities. So I think not only could we increase the offerings, and it would increase your gambling revenue, but I think it would also increase your beverage revenue, your beverage sales revenue. So I think it approaches the city's budget in a number of different ways. And what it does for us is obviously pretty dramatic. So what people don't necessarily always understand is the years without snow are probably our most expensive years, because we're able to get on trail systems and do things that we otherwise wouldn't be able to do. So for example, this year we've already replaced, on the Cromwell Trail between Penn River and Cromwell, we've already replaced an 80-foot bridge that crosses the river. So naturally, anybody who knows anything about bridges, that's not a cheap venture. But it has to be done for the safety of the riders, of course. Which leads me to the second thing that we want to do. There's a pretty gross statewide under-facilitation of the safety certification, both for ATVs and snowmobiles. There are kids that are backlogged sometimes for 2 and 3 years before they can get safety certified. And because there just aren't enough organizations doing this. And that's one of the focuses that we would want to do wherever we get in and get gambling, is we would like to get more involved in that safety certification program, so that the local kids in this area have more classes to attend rather than 1 or 2 a year. I think Cromwell's probably the only one really doing it consistently right now, and I think they do 2 a year. So there's just a lot of things along those lines that we can do. We currently have 2 or 3 trails that are going to need reroutes in order to stay on permissible land, and all of those things have costs, of course. And then I guess in closing, I'd just like to say thank you for your consideration. I know this is probably not on the tip of your thought process, but it's something that I think would be beneficial to the city as well as to the snowmobiling community as a whole. Any questions for me?
Well, thank you.
Yep.
I think it was more of an informational thing, and would have to go to the liquor board anyhow before.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much for your thorough presentation. We will have discussions about it at the liquor committee level. It does impact council from a gambling perspective, and it has implications for the muni from a liquor committee perspective. So we'll start those dialogues next week, and then make sure that council's informed and that we continue to bring those discussion pieces forward to council as well. So, thank you.
B, Arrowhead Transit 2025 Subscription Transit Service Agreement.
So this agreement is an annual agreement for the city of Moose Lake. This is the 2025 agreement. The monthly billing amount is $500 per month. The agreement, our contract length is January 1 to December 31st. The billing amount is the same as last year.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion, we accept the 2025 transit service agreement.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. C, the Sturgeon Lake Area Lions. Application to conduct off-site gambling.
Yes, so this is the Sturgeon Lake Lions area application. This is for the ice fishing contest event on February 15th. This is an event that has occurred year over year, and the Sturgeon Lake Area Lions Club has been a part of this event historically as well.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. D, the Minnesota State Lottery contract.
Yes, once again, this is an annual contract for the city of Moose Lake. The agreement term is from February 15th, 2025 to February of 2026. I did review the contract in comparison to last year's, and the compensation / payout amounts to retailers, the percentages of commission are exactly the same as year over year. So I did review that and looking for council's approval on this.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. E is short Elliott Hendrickson Incorporated supplement letter.
Yes, so this is for city engineering services. In the past, we engaged in a 2-year contract and then did a 1-year extension. We did have discussion at our most recent monthly city engineering meeting, talking about doing the same 3-year term based on the previous 2-year and 1-year extension. This contract is for services from 2025 to 2027 through SEH.
Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. F, the 2025 City Moose Lake fee schedule.
Yes, so council received a copy of the proposed 2025 City Moose Lake fee schedule. All items that were highlighted are items that have changed over the course of 2024 to 2025. But all of these items have been reviewed by council previously. For example, the campground increases were approved, water and sewer rates, EDU charge, things of that nature. We did put on here a public data request fee, which was per city attorney recommendation. One thing that council will see in February is a new data practices policy that our city attorneys have prepared for us for the city to adopt. So this fee is in line with those recommendations as well. So looking for approval for the fee schedule in totality.
Is there a motion to approve?
I just have one
Motion.
question. On the public data request, is that enough? Because if we have all three of you in the office, that doesn't cover $43.
Thank you. So we are supposed to have one designated staff member primarily to facilitate. This is that person's wage per hour, and they will be the designee for the city per the upcoming policy that will be presented to council. So it is a per hour. It is based on statute. It's what we are able to charge per hour.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I,
All right.
Opposed? Carried. Skid steer quote discussion.
So in the 2025 budget, there was a purchase of a new skid steer, trading in our old skid steer for a new one, upgrading. Page 108, you will find an estimate. It shows our trade-in value. I apologize, my green highlighter got really carried away. It's $33,000 on a trade-in value of that machine that we currently have. You'll find the estimate just below that. A couple pages of submittals, specs, that kind of thing. Be looking for a trade-in value of $33,000 for our existing machine. Total machine sale price of the current machine we're looking at is $79,000, just a little over $79,000, with a total balance owed to the city of Moose Lake of $46,405.26. There's one quote. This is state bid pricing. So
One thing to discuss in addition is in the 2025 budget, the city budgeted $50,000 for the skid steer. So what City Superintendent Etner has provided is the option for council to review regarding a warranty in combination with the purchase of the machine. So Superintendent Etner has highlighted a couple of different options. Both of those options then can fit within the total budget allotment for the skid steer if the council so chooses to subscribe to an additional extended warranty. Superintendent Etner, can you weigh in with your recommendation or how you feel about the warranty?
my recommendation would be 5.622, 5-year, 3,000-hour powertrain hydraulic and technology warranty. That technology one is the biggest one that has those machines with a lot of computerized equipment on them now. Our current machine that we're trading in is starting to nickel and dime us now. We're getting down there to where we're starting to have some electrical issues, and it's no longer under warranty. It's not cheap to fix those things. Those call-outs are fairly expensive, so.
The difference between the two is the number of hours on the,
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, 5.6.15 was a mistake on my end, so I actually ignored that one.
Okay.
So yes, that 5.622 would be my recommendation. Our current machine has just about 3,000 hours on it. It's 7 years old. It's about the best fit for what we currently have.
This might be a simple question, but 5-year, 3,000, whatever comes first, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve buying a new skid steer?
I'll make that motion.
And do you want to also add the extended warranty?
Yeah, so I'll add the warranty, the noted as 5.622, 5-year, 3,000.
There's-
710.
Is there a second?
second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next, we'll move on to 7, reports and correspondence. A is the Carleton County Drug Prevention Coalition meeting minutes.
This is simply just for council's information. We've been putting these in the packet on a monthly basis. There's a lot of great information in there, events. So it's simply just for your review.
On the committee and board meeting minutes. A, Moose Lake Fire Protection District meeting minutes from December 10th, 2024. And B, the Park and Recreation Board meeting minutes from January 6th, 2025. Just for information. Moving on, announcements. The Moose Lake City Council regular meeting will be February 12th, 2025 at 4 p.m. here in this room. Moose Lake Economic Development Authority, Wednesday, January 15th, 2025, 12 p.m. in the small conference room. Moose Lake Water and Light Commission, Tuesday, January 21st, 2025, 1 p.m. at the Water and Light Office. Moose Lake Housing and Redevelopment Authority Board, Monday, January 13th, 11 a.m. at the Hillside Manor Office. Moose Lake Fire Protection District, Tuesday, January 14th, 6:30 p.m. at the Emergency Response Center. And the Moose Lake Parks and Recreation Board, Monday, February 3rd, 5 p.m. Here in this room. One thing left, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, adjourned.
Adjourned.